Do you guys ever build something so cool that you're like, how in the hell did I build this? Well, guess what? That happened to me on this build, and I'm going to share it all with you guys. It is so cool, honestly. It is the first video in a series I'm going to be doing called Can I Really Build That? Where I'm going on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, checking out all the Halloween builds and trying to build them for myself to see if it's really difficult, to see if I can change anything, see if I can alter it and make it a little different. So you guys are in for it today, I'm telling you. This video, we decided to do the Cauldron Creep, Cauldron Creeper, whatever you call it, but you know what it is. It's that type of skeleton or the Reaper, or whatever the hell it is, stirring the pot, you know, like cooking all this shit, you know. So I started with basically one of those posable skeletons, you know, so I'm going to show you what it looked like here maybe. And then I ended up with this son of a bitch. This thing is so cool. Wait till you guys find out how I made it. So right now I'm going to cut it short because we have a lot to get going here in the Monster Shop.
The Monster Shop Creepy Tutorial.
I picked up an animatronic prop from someone earlier this week, and she also gave me this spare part that she didn't need anymore, and it got me thinking, like, I could probably do something like this for this Cauldron Creeper, you know, specifically with this motor, you know, the linkage and so forth, and how it kind of works. So there's a rod that comes up here and hooks into these two pieces right here. So what this does, it's a side-by-side. So I think what I'm going to do, since I'm going to be building two of these, I'm going to do one that goes side-to-side, so I'll just use this one as is. All right, we are back now. I did a little bit of fabrication here, just cut off some of the cage part of there, just to keep the actual piece that I need. So give you guys a heads up what I'm going to be doing here. I just removed those parts, and I'm going to try to bury this inside of the cavity of the skeleton, so that way I can get the movement I want. So to give you guys a look where I'm coming from, this is exactly what I did. I cut the piece off here, and I opened up the cavity of the skeleton, and it's originally going to probably have to sit like this, so that when it does move, it gets that side-by-side movement. You know, one thing I do want to point out is that you're going to have to probably build up the rib cage a little bit, because, you know, it just sticks out kind of too far. But I'm not mad at it, because, you know, it doesn't matter, because, you know, it's going to be covered, it's going to be corpse. So I think I might build it up a little bit just so that there's room here. Plus it'll probably look more badass if there's a big chest on it, you know. So anyways, it's eventually going to be hidden in here. Got a little hole right there, and we are going to put these leads right through there, into there. I made it big enough so that we could just glue around it, but if we ever need to change it, you know, if these break or whatever, we could just easily have pretty decent size access here. So these are going to come in the back here, and we're going to put some glue in around the holes. And then we'll glob it around once it's done. And then I'm gonna put my green eyes on. So we're gonna do, if I could do this without burning my hand, that'd be awesome. Whoops. So a little schmutz around it. And launch it on the area. Same thing with this one. Gotta make sure his eyes are straight. You don't have like cross-eyed. You don't want to have cross-eyed skeletons, you know. So. There we go. Check them out. Looks pretty cool. It's better in the dark. Obviously, we have so many lights on here, but it's gonna look really cool. I like how you know, since you glued around it, you can see all the you know, the light shining around the glue. I think it looks pretty cool, so I like it. I like it a lot. All right, now that that's done, we can just screw it back together and the heads will be done. Then we can start working on the bodies for this second one and see if we can get it going. This one's gonna be a side-to-side motion. This one's like kind of an up and down. So, oh, what are you doing here? All right, next part is the body. This one is the second skeleton we're prepping today. This one is gonna have more of a side-to-side motion. The other one is gonna be an up and down. So, in my opinion, that one was more difficult. Just trying to figure out how to work it. This one should be easy. You know, just because I'm using this prop that it's actually made to go side by side. Most likely, with the luck I have, it isn't gonna work, but we're gonna try it anyways. It's not going to work. So we are kind of SOL here. So let's figure this out. Okay, so we're gonna zip off all these little. One thing I forgot, everybody, that you should be wearing eye protection. I didn't, you know, so it's my bad, but, you know, I have my eyes closed. But no, seriously, like, if you're gonna be cutting with that stuff, you should be wearing eye protection. All right, that's a lot better. I like this a lot better. It fits exactly where I want it to go. Yeah, I think this is what we're gonna be at. We're gonna, kind of just gonna blob up some more of this shit around here so I can get in there. Pretty good. Pretty good shit. That's that Gorilla Glue. Pretty good stuff, that Gorilla Glue is, you know. It actually holds really, really strong. That's all I buy for my props. It's Gorilla Glue. Let me show you. I always buy these for my Halloween stuff, just so if you guys are looking. Gorilla Glue, they are hot glue sticks. They are really, really strong. I use them all the time. So I buy the big pack, but they work wonders. I mean, look at this. We just glued this, and it's I mean, it's pretty good. You know, it's holding really good. So, all right. Now what we're going to do here is just try to throw some zip ties in here just to hold this. Like I said, it's not a big deal if, you know, stuff's showing. You know, like, what do we want? We're DIY people. We make shit. You know. It's not like we're professionals. I'm just showing you guys stuff that you guys can make at home without going and spending hundreds of dollars on stuff. It's just kind of stuff you have laying around. Like I said, you have a little prop here. You know, you don't need it anymore. Reuse it, recycle it. You know, don't throw it in the garbage. Save stuff, you know. So that's what we're doing here. You know, that's my deal with the channel. So that's all I do. So we're gonna start throwing some zip ties in here just to fix this to where we want it to go. Okay, so here what I'll do is I'll just gonna put some of this in here. Okay, just so you guys can see what I did here. It's fixed in, it's not going anywhere. I glued it up top here. I glued it at the bottom. We glued it here in the back. We put the screw in here. I think it's safe to say this thing is not going anywhere. You know, so here's what it looks like from the back. I got the wire ties. Barely even see them, you know, like, I think we're going pretty good. So I wanted to say one thing really quick, just as because it just popped in my mind, and I wanted to explain it to you guys. The reason why I build props the way I build props on my channel with you guys is because I kind of like to do it as I go. I'm not really a planner. You know, if you guys want to build something that I built on my channel, you're going to run into issues, right? You're going to, like, you know, like, for example, how many times did I build something and it didn't work out the right way, or I had to pause and figure it out, you know? A lot of these channels you watch, they just go quickly, have everything predetermined, everything's out, you know, which is great, but, you know, they don't show you what happened in the meantime, like how, you know, how it took them to get there, how, like, what, if there's an issue with it. So I kind of build as I go. I don't plan things, you know, I try, but it doesn't work. So, like I said, this way you guys can see the struggles that are involved in building props. You know, nothing's ever perfect, nothing's ever right, you know, especially when you're trying to retrofit stuff. So that's just one of the reasons why I do things the way I do here on my channel, so you guys can build with me. So that being said, right now we are going to try to adjust this area to see if we can get this to fit. As you could tell right now, there's a huge difference between the clearances, you know, because of this box here. Nothing we can do about it. We need to incorporate it in here. So we're going to try to, you know, at least I'm going to take a heat gun here and try to heat these up and pull down a little bit so I can melt it down a little bit. See if it works. If not, we will just try to, you know, we're going to have to pull this up. We're going to have a gap on the side that we're going to have to fill the area just so that we can get involved. So for right now, let's just try to see what we can do here with the heat gun and go from there. Let's give it a shot, right? Okay, so I'm just going to start here, I think, and throw some screws in here. So yeah, I think it's gonna look pretty good. Different, it might work. I think I'll probably work on the wiring next. Now that we have this pretty much good to go, I'm gonna work on the wiring. What my intention is to be able to plug in this unit into the other part of the prop. So we are going to cut some wire here. Probably have to just solder it on for now and then, you know, adjust it later. So I'm going to leave the leads kind of really long on these. And I think what we're going to do is run this down through the body into the legs, I think, because there's a channel here where we could run it. If you see how I'm planning on running the wires, right here, this way they won't be seen and they'll be hidden. And they'll go all the way down. Whoa, what the hell? Shit. All right, so let's just take a rough guess to where we're gonna be at. And run it through the leg, down to the bottom. Just gonna cut it, I think, right around here. So what we have right now is enough wire to get down to the legs and into the cauldron, what we're gonna be building later on. All right, so now that we're in a good spot now, what we're gonna do here is cut some of this spinal column stuff, you know, just to cover it up, I think. So we're just gonna figure out where it belongs, where it'll screw in, and then we're just gonna make a quick cut and then change it up. And I don't think this is the way it goes. Okay, so right about here, it's about even. So I measured where the rod comes out, and I think this is about lines it up. So I'm gonna mark over here and cut this part right here out. Leave a mark here. I'm gonna cut there, zip that straight off, and then we'll do the same thing to the neck. So this is it. This is how we cut it out. I think it's gonna work out perfect. I had to make a little notch in this one vertebrae so that it'll fit in front of the motor here, but I think it's gonna work out pretty good here. All right, everybody, we are now on day 2, or is it day 3? I don't remember. It's been so long working on this thing, but I gotta get it done. So what we're gonna do today is get the head straightened out, fix the head onto the body. We're gonna put the legs on, route the wires through the bottom of the legs, and pretty much this guy will be done. Put his arms on, and he'll be ready for painting, you know, and corpsing. All right, so what I did here was I just drilled 2 holes here, and I have a couple of pieces of metal here that I just cut, you know, just so that we could just stick in here in the holes to make sure that they're going to fit where we want to go. Let's see what it looks like. Make sure that they will line up into the area before we glue it in. Okay, so it does look like it's going to work once everything is fastened and glued in to where it's got to go. I might throw a bit, I might throw some glue just behind here, just for this prop, because it's not really meant for that, but it'll hold it in place. I think it's gonna turn out pretty good. That'll work. So we're gonna get our glue gun out, glue that into place, and then you know, then we can put the neck pieces in and start working from there. All right, so now we're down the home stretch here. All we'll have left are the legs and the arms. So what I'm gonna do right now is I think I'm just gonna run the wire down through. All right, so now that we got the wire running through here, basically what we're gonna do is run through, you know, this area here and just kind of route it through here and to get into the leg bone here, and we're gonna go out. So what we'll do is we're gonna take off all the screws here and then start rerouting the wire to get to the end. All right, we are going mobile right now with a quick run through because it's easier for me to do it this way. To show you guys where we're at with the skeleton. So right now the legs are on, we don't have the arms in yet. All the wires are ran into the spine. They come out here. Eventually this will probably get glued down here when we're ready to go. Came through here. I put a little bit of wire loom in here, and we are also, just comes out at the bottom of the foot right here. Boom. And finally, we are at the home stretch here. We're going to work on the arms right now, just to prep them. Really not that much you can do to these, but thought of a cool idea. I picked up these. These things are from Amazon. They're just thin. They're cool. They'll do the trick better than the ones that we have on here. All right, everybody, we are almost done with this prop. The last thing we have to do is, put these arms where they belong for now. All right, so now that we have this all done and put together, before we send him over to get corpse, I'm gonna give him some teeth here. I just love this teeth. I mean, I bought these on Amazon. They're really cool and really creepy once you stain them. So we're gonna give him a new smile. Look at these teeth here. So let's see what we can put together here. All right, kind of looks weird right now. Trust me, just in case you guys are wondering. It looks really weird, but wait till you see it when, here we go. Wait till you see it when it's all painted and stained, trust me. All right, so before we get started on this project, I figured I'd lay out all the parts so you guys get a visual on what you're going to need to get this done. First things first, obviously, we need the wiper motor. Luckily, my brother is awesome, and he was able to give me or donate 2 wiper motors to the monster shop. My brother's a mechanic, and he had a couple of these laying around from cars that he got rid of. So if you have a friend or a brother that is a mechanic, do yourself a favor and ask them to just yank the wiper motors out of cars if they see them in a junkyard, or they're going to get rid of car. It'll save you so much money. Other than that, if you do want to pay for it, you can go buy them on Amazon. You can go to any auto parts store. You can even go to Fright Props. They sell them, but it's basically the same thing. So I'm going to put these over here on the side just so that we can get into the logistics of the parts. Okay, so as far as parts are concerned, aside from the wiper motors that we just talked about, you're going to need to get yourself some flat aluminum stock. This one is 3/4 inch by 3 feet. You really don't need that much of it. You could do a wider if you want, but I just went with the 3/4 inch because I don't really need that. It's pretty sturdy itself. So I'm building 2 of these. So in actuality, you just need a little bit for the whatever's inside the cauldron. You're going to need 2 threaded rods here. So I got I think they're 12-inch threaded rods, 5/16. A couple barrel nuts. These are the threaded ones inside, so they have like the washer inside, so they don't work their way out. These are the 5/16 couplers that you're going to attach the threaded rod to the actual wiper motor with. You got 5/16 regular washers. You got some flat washers. This right here I thought was pretty cool. A lot of people on YouTube and online have been using computer power supplies. They work great as long as they are 5 amp. You need a lot of amperage to push these motors. But they're not waterproof. They're made for indoors. So I thought it'd be better just to go in and get waterproof. These are waterproof power supplies for heavy duty stuff just for this prop. So I did get 2 of them. And then these are speed controllers. These are what you use to adjust the speed on the wiper motor. If you want it faster or slower, I think it's really cool that you can buy something like that. So we'll go over how to hook everything up. Oh, one last thing. So these things are pretty cool. I found these on Amazon, and I will put the link below as well. They're resin skulls. You can see these little suckers here, but there's like 50 of them in a pack. I literally went through and colored the eye sockets on each one of these. I think it looks better with black eyes. So what we're going to do with these is I'm going to glue them once we have the cauldron all built up, all the mechanical parts inside. I'm going to glue these skulls around the edge of the cauldron. I think it'll look really cool. And then we'll finish the paint on the cauldron and then, you know, do the other fun stuff, you know. Last but not least, we have the acrylic disc. Got these off of Amazon. I will put the link down below as well. You want to make sure that when you measure your disc size out, you make sure that it'll fit inside of the cauldron with a little bit of wiggle room. So now we're at the part of the build where we have to talk about the cauldron and get that built. The cauldron is the brains of the operation, if you want to say. Everything happens in the cauldron. You know, for the most part, the skeleton itself is just, you know, turning around. I have some action going on in the skeleton, but the brains is in the cauldron. So I was trying to figure out what I can use to achieve what I was going for. Okay, I don't have that much room. I'm trying to make this kind of a compact version, self-encapsulated, so basically I don't have to worry about picking up this big ass cauldron, picking up this skeleton, moving around. So what I thought about doing was coming up with a way to set everything inside of a unit and just move it all as one, okay? So I started looking around Facebook Marketplace, I looked in my shed, and what did I find? A spare part for my pool. This is what I came up with. This is what I think we're going to use. These are pool filter holders. They're made of hard plastic. They're meant to hold heavy ass sand filters in here. So I thought I can use this as the base of the Cauldron Creep. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the cauldron here, and then we're going to have the skeleton up here that I can mount to this platform, and then we'll actually, you know, finish it up with some spray foam and all that dirt and all that shit, you know. But so right now I'm thinking, like, what can I use here? You know, I needed a cool cauldron, but I didn't want to spend a lot of money on it. So I went back to Facebook Marketplace, and luckily I found these to use. This is a pretty cool cauldron, doesn't it look so? So actually, what this is a planter that someone used for a garden. They were getting rid of it. I got 2 of these for like 10 bucks, I think. So I just took off the bottom, and if you throw it right in here, look how awesome that looks. It's gonna be perfect. So basically, you're able to screw this down, fasten it, get your motor in here, run all your wires underneath this unit, and then put your speed control back here. And guess what? You now have a waterproof design. You don't have to worry about getting water in it or damage, because it's all encapsulated underneath. So if you guys are going to build a build just like this, try to look out on Facebook Marketplace, or if you are home and your mom has one of these, steal it off of her. No, just don't do that. No, ask her for that. Like, if you have one and you need something, think about going with planter. They're plastic. They're not going to get ruined. They're not heavy. So I think that's the best way to do it. Okay, for this application, for the rod, we're going to do a 12-inch piece. It's going to fit perfectly in here. Just so you guys can see what we got going on. Everything is in here, mounted. We have the wire loom on. And I have a nut here, tied in here. I have a nut underneath this washer. A nylon nut, so it will not move down. Alright, so what I did here is I got the mount here mounted, so it's going to spin all the way around. What I'm going to do is fill this cavity up with something to take up the space, and fill it with hot glue, and then I have a bearing I'm going to slide on top of it. So before we get started here, I want to give you guys a quick tutorial run through of what we got so far. This is the pot, like I said, I'm working on right now. This is just sitting in place here. I wanted to just show you what I did on the end here. Excuse me. So I landed up putting the switch here, the speed controller outside. I think it's going to look a lot better. Let me zoom back here. So what I did here was I hooked up a hose, and I'll flip it over very shortly. That way, if you want to run fog, you can. You just slide it on here. And then I also put a speed controller here. So I will show you really quick before I take everything off. I just set this up. I decided to go with purple just for the broth. Everybody does green. I kind of don't like the green, so I'm going to try purple. And the other one I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do red, just to give it a variation. This is just sitting on top just to cover the rod here. And then, as you can tell, I cracked the damn acrylic when I put it in, but it doesn't matter. I just super glued it back together, and I'm going to be, covering it with, bones and different frosty shit and everything like that. So it doesn't matter, I just super glued it back together. I put a washer on each end, and I will show you what I did. I'm gonna turn the switch on now, just so you guys can see. Here's the, like I said, you could crank it up really fast, but I don't think you're gonna really be going that crazy stirring some shit up. But you know, you could just turn it down to whatever you want to, whatever effect you want. And like I said, I just basically, you know, a lot of people do this online. I took a spray paint cap and I filled it with some foam insulation, and then I just went and put a layer of glue in here, and I actually put a bearing in here. This thing spins, so that way you could put the top of the cauldron staff or whatever the hell you're going to use to mix it into here, and it should rotate around there. It's a lot easier than having it wobble all over the place. So that's about where we're at now. I'm going to flip this over really quick and show you the underside of the prop. Okay, and here is the underneath. As you can tell, I've got this pretty much straightened out as much as I can. We are going to have to wire in the skeleton very shortly, but before I do that, I wanted to show you what I did here. So as you can tell, here is the hose here, goes in through here, drilled a hole through that support and into the cauldron. I have it sticking up in the bottom, so that way when the fog comes up, it might hit the plate and recirculate in, and I'm gonna hopefully be able to have a creepy look to it. So this is the wiring here that goes to the wiper motor. Everything is ran in wire looms. This is the speed controller. I just glued this up here with some epoxy glue, 5-minute epoxy. This I have to just fill that area. I don't want anything leaking on there, so I'm gonna put glue on it. That's why I put this here, just to catch it until then. Okay, so this is basically what I have here set up. Okay, so just so you guys can see, that's where the fog is going to come up. It doesn't hit anything, as you can tell. But I think, I'm hoping that when the fog comes up out of there, it'll hit the plate that's here and kind of like force it to come up along the edge. I don't know if it's going to happen, but we're going to try it. So this way, I figure too, if you guys build it like this, if you don't want to do fog, you don't have to put it in. But this way, you don't have a big hose laying around and stuff. That's what I did. That way, you just hook up to it, and then you're good to go. All right, so now we have a good idea of where we want this to go in relation to where the cauldron is going to be. So I have this marked. What I'm going to do is, because this is a threaded rod, we're going to throw some nuts and some washers on it to kind of sandwich this together so it doesn't move. Then we're going to reinforce the legs, how they go to the cauldron, and then we'll work on the arms. I think this is going to work. It just gives you enough stability. I think once we push the washers in here and button everything up, even if we have to throw a screw in here into the joints, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. And I think it'll just give you that nice creep. If you want to bend it, you could even bend it too. But we're not going to get there yet. So, we're kind of getting to that point now. Here's the thing. This thing is going to have a little bend to it, but I don't want it to have that much bend. So I found this rod here that I'm going to use. What I was thinking about doing is putting another... Well, let's just do a test run here to see where we're going to be at with it. Oh, that might even be perfect. That's perfect. So see how I have a little bit of, you have this little width here, and I think even if I was to tilt this back a little bit, I think that's enough. So I'm thinking that maybe putting this rod right in that vicinity will give me exactly what I need. All right, just a status update for you guys, where we're at with this sucker. We've made a lot of progress. Still have a little bit more to do, but we're getting there on the build. Only thing really left is going to be the arms holding everything, and then working on the aesthetics. So the other thing I did, if you guys remember from earlier in the video, we ran the wiring down through this skeleton and into the legs. So what I did was I drilled a hole into the bottom here and ran the wires through, and I ended up hooking them up to the speed control. Just because, might as well, if these are both speed controls, you know, you don't want one going super fast and one going super slow. So they kind of, you know, they're different types of motors. So one's obviously going to be cruising a lot quicker than the other one, but we're going to test it out right now. Fingers crossed everything works. So here we go. We got some, oh yeah, we got movement. Perfect. Some creepy ass slow movement. Turn it on, yeah, look at that. I mean, we could cruise it. But I don't think we want to get that crazy, you know. She ain't gonna be mixing that shit crazy. She'd be mixing that up like mad, you know. But no, I think a small rip here, just a small. The small, slow and steady does the trick, right? Okay, so I'm going to show you guys up here, if I can get up here, what I landed up doing up here. So I landed up drilling a hole into the bottom of the skeleton, and I took a threaded rod and jammed it up there really far, and put a washer on it along with a nut. That way I could tighten this as much as I can to add some pressure. So down here, if you look down here as well, I have the nut and the washer here. That way this is pushing down. So you're pushing both up and down, creating a nice pressure field there, which will keep that up in the air and not bending. And then we go right down into here, into the rod. And the rod goes down here and it's bolted with a washer underneath. I'm not gonna flip it underneath, but you guys get the point. But other than that, everything is looking very, very good. We have to work on the arms next, and then we can start the cool aesthetics. So what we're gonna do now is work on the staff, the mixer. I have a couple staffs to use. So one of the big things about this channel is I like to try to reuse, you know, some props. If I have like a broken prop, I'll reuse pieces. Or, you know, if I have something that I don't like anymore, I just try to upcycle it. So that being said, we have the staff from the, actually she's right here. The one I made, the grave robber, the grave creeper, I think I called it, or whatever the hell it's called. So that prop was a very cheap prop from Oriental Trading that you know, look at this. I'm using using the parts in 2 different other props. So what I did was I just kind of squeezed the end of the plastic. It's very cheap plastic, so it cracks it out really easy. And I put some electrical tape for some contact, and it's going to go right in the bearing that I have down there, and I think it'll fit perfectly in there, like so. So you want to heat this up, but you don't want to melt the plastic. Okay, so that did give it a nice touch there. I really like that one. All right, so the only thing left we have to do with this is the arm here. We have to get this disconnected here. There's a couple screws on the back, and we are going to wrap it around the pole here, and we also need to drill a hole in here and attach it with a wire tie so that it moves freely. And I think here we're going to hit it with the wire tie as well, and then that way we can wrap it around there and we'll have a lot more movement. And then other than that, I think we should be good to get started on the aesthetics, you know, giving it some hair. I have a cool thing planned for the cauldron, so I'm gonna get that going now, and hopefully we get this done quickly. So the first thing we did was take out these body parts, dismantle them, and I took the heat gun out and melted this one the way I wanted it to go. This one I took apart, I drilled a hole in the end, and I drilled a hole in this end. That's where I'm gonna put the wire tie. This one as well, I'm gonna drill a hole right up to there, and in here I'm gonna drill another hole and hook everything up. And I'm gonna give it a quick spritzer just to cover the holes I drilled, and then we're gonna go back down in the monster shop. All right, so now we got the arm on. To give you guys a quick visual, what I did, I just threw a little hole in there, got a wire tie in that section, Same thing down here, just a little hole and a wire tie, and same thing down here. You want everything to be movable, so I thought that was a cool stance to do. So we're gonna turn this on now and check it out. Let me hit the switch here. Wow, pretty cool. Got a little bit of a creak, but that's bones for you, right? They gotta creak. So as you can tell, this is still working up here. So now that we have this done, so what I'm gonna do now is I have these little skulls here. I'm gonna go and sit through and put the skulls on the cauldron all around here. I'll just do that off camera. I don't want you guys to sit there and watch me glue on 50 little skulls. We also have to put the skeleton parts on the top here with a little bit of spray foam and get that looking really cool, like it's soupy. And then we're gonna doctor this baby up and check it out when it's done. Boom, here we go. This is just the first run through. I went through and glued 50 little tiny skulls, and I actually found these, boom, at the dollar store for $1.25. But yeah, I used them up here. It looks a little conky now, but don't forget, once you apply your texture and your paint, this is gonna all blend in. Just gonna hop on really quick to show you guys what I'm doing. I ended up painting everything here, and I'm just giving everything just like a little wipe from the gray or the silver I have on there, just to give it that aged look. Like I still want, see how these guys are right here? So I'm hitting them really quick with just a damp rag, just to take some of the paint off of it and just make it look aged. And like these bones, I'm just giving a quick dusting here off too. Primarily I'm trying to get all the skulls. I mean, we're still gonna go over this with another coat of a different color paint, maybe black, but you know, I think it just looks better when you swipe a little bit off. You're leaving a lot of it on, but you know, the majority of this, the highest stuff is coming off. Okay, so here we go, another round. I blotched on, dry brushed some black on. Same thing, I went over all the skulls, and I'm just going through. I haven't painted, and I'm just gonna go wipe a little bit off of them, just so it looks a little old, creepy. You want to leave the paint on, you don't want to take it all the way off, just so it gives it that old look, like it's been around for centuries, you know? Just adds an extra something to it. Okay, it is painting day. We are getting really close to the end with this project. I'm throwing a really light coat of dry brush onto the skeleton, and then I'm gonna wipe it off with a paper towel just to give it some definition. I want it to be a little bit lighter so that you can see it at night. So we're gonna give him just a quick light wash just to make it a little age too. And then I'm gonna start working on the foam very soon, and we'll be getting this sucker out in the yard. All right, we are now at one of the final stages of this project, the cosmetic stage and the lighting stage. The lighting stage is very simple. We are just gonna put some submersible puck lights in the cauldron. They have a remote control. You can get them on Amazon really cheap. They run off like watch batteries or big, batteries similar to a watch battery, and they can get wet. So I use them in here, and all I did, I don't know if you could see it in here, but I have a couple glued here, and here, which will hopefully give it a little bit of a lighting effect once the fog comes out of it. We did paint this disc here purple. That's going to sit on top, so I'm hoping that the fog will come out of here and light up a little bit. And another thing we're going to do is picked up a set of lights for the cauldron, the ash, the fire down below. I originally was going to use fairy lights until I had a little disaster outside where I was cutting the grass and I went to move one of the cauldrons I had already done. and it yanked the fairy lights wire right off the damn thing, so I had to fix it. I had to solder it. It was not fun because they're so tiny, and my ass needs like little reader glasses because I can't see anymore. So anyways, so I went out and I got these outdoor lights. These are red lights. They have a whole bunch of different settings on them. Weren't that expensive at all, and they got a huge lead on them so that we can run the wire through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one screw out down below and try to fish the wire through there, so that way when I spray on the foam, we will, I'll be able to wrap it in layers and then put the expandable foam on it to finish that project up. One thing I did want to mention, I'm not going to record it for this session because I already have a video on my channel containing how to do creepy cauldron. So if you guys want to watch that video, if you're unsure of how to make a really cool fire effect for cauldron, check out that video. I'll try to put the link up here or up here somewhere for you guys. But I'm going to work on that now, and then I will meet you guys back here once that's done. I know I have this going a little bit quicker than it will be going, but I wanted to show you guys what this kind of looks like with the light. Isn't that pretty neat? So when you're going to have the foam on here, don't forget you're going to be farther away. Isn't that pretty cool how that looks? And like I said, you could change the different colors. You want it red, green. I don't know who the hell we want. Yellow. Like a purplish color. Look at that. Isn't that cool? And we're doing like a purplish color froth, I think. So I think that'll look really cool. Alright, I knew I told you guys that I didn't want to show you this process, but I just did it, and I just wanted to show you guys so you guys have a quick heads up on the before and after. I want you guys to see before and after. It doesn't look the greatest right now. Just wait until I add my little Monster Shop touch at the end. Once I paint everything up, I'm going to let it dry overnight and then come back tomorrow, and I'm going to touch up any spots I needed to, and then I'm going to paint it, and then wait till you see when it's done. Alright, check it out. Pretty much I got all of the painting done with the foam. A little bit of touch-ups I have to do, but I just wanted to quickly just give you guys a visual on where we're at. So what do you guys think? I think it turned out pretty awesome. Like I said, there's a couple layers of paint on here, specifically the foam and the broth. I did not want to do the green, the neon green. It's overrated. They do it too many times. I wanted a purple color. So what I did here was I have a gloss purple paint that I spray painted the disc with. I spray painted the foam. I learned my lesson by not spraying this foam first before I painted the cauldron, so I had to mask everything off and re-spray that so that the color would work. And then in addition to the purple paint, I found this paint. It is neon black light purple colored paint that what I did after the purple dried, I painted this by hand on the foam to give it a nice vibrant color, and then if there is a black light, it will glow. And then after that, on the top of it, I dry brushed some white and off-white color to create like a foam effect on top of it, just to give it a little bit more depth and everything. We do have the skulls in here. I gave that a little bit of a darkness and a little bit of lightness. I think it turned out phenomenal, guys, I gotta say. So what we're gonna do next is we're going to work on the rest of the base. I'm going to do a Spanish moss for grass. I think we could use that on the bottom, and then what we'll do is we'll throw some Spanish moss like up here, coming off the joints and so forth, maybe off the rib cage and maybe the legs, just to give it some like it just came out of the ground type of feel, and then we'll work on the cloth, and then I'm going to put a little bit of hair on the side. So what I'm going to do now is I have to do this outside because it's just very flammable and I need it to get tacky. So I'm going to take this upstairs into the monster garage and do it in there so that I could open up the door and so forth. I picked up some of this Gorilla Glue, this spray adhesive. It's really, really strong stuff. So make sure you're outside and ventilate it, or you're going to be really buzzed up when you're spraying it. Okay, we are back from the Monster Garage, and I wanted to show you some of my artwork I did. I don't want to expose the whole prop yet because it turned out awesome. But here it is here with the Spanish moss on it. Just so that you guys can see some detail of everything I did in here. Here is the coals. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit here so you can see what I did here. I went through, painted all the sticks that I had a little bit of brown, and I gave the bones a little bit of a lighter color here so you guys can see the variations. This is without the lighting here. I just wanted to show you guys exactly what we have going on. In here, we have all this going on here. I added some Spanish moss up here on the ankles here and the knee joints, just for a little effect. And what I did here was I actually added some cloth here. I had this cloth left over from this Oriental trading prop, so I used it. It turned out perfect for here. And it had a little bit of overage. And are you guys ready? Are you guys ready to see the big reveal of the face? You're just gonna have to wait a little bit. All right, so one thing I wanted to point out, for me, when I put the Spanish moss on this back part, it kind of looked very boring. So what I did was I found a spine and I found a femur, and I actually have a jaw if you look back there. Whoa. I have a jaw in here too. So anyways, I went through and all I did was spray painted a little bit of black spray paint, and I wiped it off, and it gave this really cool effect. So, and I crisscrossed him in the back and just added it so that he looks like this guy has these bones, and then he puts them in the broth, you know, and gets them nice and clean looking, and he could eat them and stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool. A nice little touch here to add to it for some depth. Okay, so one of the things I did want to show you really quick was this staff, or the mixing rod. It was a big pain in the butt. This one came from Oriental Trading, actually, believe it or not. It was a straight stick that I had to go through, and I had to bend it a couple ways just to get it to work the right way. So it was straight plastic, but unfortunately the way this works is that I had to do a bend right around here. If you notice the bend here, this was getting hit every time it spun. So I wanted it to be a little bit higher out. So I had to just straightly, is that even a word? So what I did here was I took this and took a heat gun and melted a little bit of it just to give it a bend. Let me see if I can get it in here from this light. Yes, if you can see the bend here. And then what I did here was just right about here. I melted it again just to give it a more straight bend. Alright everybody, thank you guys very much for watching this video, sitting through it all. I think it turned out amazing. I hope you guys think so too. So I'd really like to hear what you guys think about it. Please drop a line in the comments. I will reply to every comment you guys leave. I'm interested in what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, or what I could have done better. Just drop a comment, and like I said, thank you guys for checking me out. Thank you guys for checking this one out. Maybe down the road I'll do a side-by-side comparison, or maybe a YouTube short to show you guys the other one that I make. But thank you guys for sitting here with me, and enjoy the video. Stay creepy.